If you're thinking about which iPad to buy this year and you're torn between the iPad 9 and iPad 10, you're not alone in having 1,000 doubts, just like I do every time I have to choose a new device. Questions like which one is better? Why does iPad 9 cost less? Is it better to save money or spend more for something better? Keep popping up. In this video, I'll try to help you by showing you the main differences between the two models and sharing my usage experience, hoping to help you understand which one is more suitable for you. This is because, even though Apple has launched two still very valid models, both have different features that could change your usage experience depending on your expectations and needs. In terms of size, the two models are very similar to each other. The differences in size are minimal, as is the weight. Handling either one doesn't change much, they're both manageable and easy to carry around. Whether it's for work, school, or at home, there aren't any significant differences. Both are very comfortable and compact to carry in our travel bag. What sets them apart is their design. iPad 9 maintains the design of Apple's early models, while iPad 10 imitates the modern design of the new models with a combination of colors that are really beautiful, like this bright pink. Personally, I love the shape and visual effect of iPad 10, making it a modern and playful device. Another important feature to consider is Touch ID. On iPad 9, it's built into the home button below the display, while on iPad 10, it's located on the top power button. Both work very well, and for some, it might be more convenient to still have the physical home button. I agree that many times it is. However, with Apple's software improvements, I personally don't feel the need for it much anymore. Additionally, I appreciate having Touch ID at the top because it's easier for me to find the grip with the button between unlocks. Meanwhile, with the bottom button of iPad 9, it seems a bit more awkward, especially in situations like when I use it on the desk or in bed at night, where you have to bring your hand close to your chest trying to find the right combination with the button, making it slightly more complicated. Furthermore, as you might guess, not having the home button allowed iPad 10 to have a larger display, 10.9 inches compared to the 10.2 inches of iPad 9, and with narrower bezels. This, in my opinion, greatly improves the viewing pleasure and workspace, allowing us to have more space in multitasking and simultaneous app processing. Additionally, the display of iPad 9 is a Retina display, while iPad 10 sports a liquid Retina. Both at 60 Hz with a maximum brightness of 500 nits, but with a slightly higher resolution for iPad 10. The differences aren't so pronounced. Both have very beautiful colors, but on iPad 10, I notice a greater brightness and brilliance, making the visual effect more enjoyable, especially when viewing photos or videos. Additionally, both displays allow for seamless use of the Apple Pencil, whether it's for taking notes or creating magnificent drawings. However, I've noticed that annoying noise the pencil tip makes when touching the display is less pronounced and bothersome on the iPad 10 compared to the iPad 9. I find this to be a very positive aspect to consider, especially during prolonged use. It really gets on my nerves, especially if we're taking notes in quiet environments like a library or a silent classroom where the annoyance can be heightened. That said, both models support the first-generation Apple Pencil, while the iPad 10 also supports the Apple Pencil USB-C. If you want to understand the various differences, you can check out my dedicated video. But a fundamental aspect is that the first-generation Apple Pencil can be charged directly at the Lightning connector of the iPad 9, while on the iPad 10, we need an adapter because the connection is USB-C. Personally, I prefer recharging the pencil on the iPad 10 because it allows you to do so even when you stow the tablet in your backpack. But more importantly, you don't risk breaking the pencil with a careless movement as you might on the iPad 9. As mentioned earlier, the iPad 10 has a USB-C connector, unlike the Lightning connector on the iPad 9. I believe this is an advantage because, in addition to allowing us to stay in line with current standards where almost all devices have a USB-C connection like the iPhone 15, it also allows us to reduce unnecessary cables at home. It also allows us to connect an external monitor, which unfortunately I don't have at home, to display, and other accessories such as an external SSD to quickly transfer data, photos, or videos. Something that certainly makes the iPad more cutting-edge and will allow us to keep up with the times longer. But despite this, both models have truly impressive performance, just as you'd expect from Apple when they create their electronic devices. In terms of responsiveness, fluidity, and functionality, both perform exceptionally well. Apps, animations, and loading times are very fast, allowing us to do everything we want with ease. We can get distracted on social media, watch videos on YouTube, read emails, share or view our beloved photos. Everything works well in the Apple ecosystem thanks to the updates received, which allow both models to add new features smoothly and without slowdowns. Furthermore, consider that the iPad 9 features the A13 Bionic processor with 3 GB of RAM, while the iPad 10 features the A14 Bionic with 4 GB of RAM. Processors with a few years under their belt but still very capable and performant, and as you can notice with some benchmark data, the iPad 10 manages to be significantly more powerful in both single-core and multi-core tasks. However, in everyday use, we don't notice significant differences except in app loading times and gaming, making the iPad 10 a more ideal device for those who want to use it for creative purposes like 4K editing or for better overall performance and gaming. Both iPads have an 8-megapixel wide-angle camera with full HD video on iPad 9 and a 12-megapixel camera with 4K video on iPad 10. The cameras are good for taking pictures of documents or notes, but iPad 10 gives us a bit more brightness and detail. Another interesting point to note is the front cameras. On iPad 9, it's located at the top, while on iPad 10, it's positioned on the side. Although both cameras work very well and allow us to make exciting video calls, I've noticed that when using the iPads horizontally, which is usually more comfortable and perhaps a method used by most people, iPad 9 shows the face-off center, giving the impression of looking elsewhere. I'd say this isn't ideal for a work call. This issue doesn't occur on iPad 10, where the camera's position manages to perfectly center the face and eyes. It's not a glaring issue, but it certainly represents a noticeable improvement. Another peculiar feature is that iPad 10 no longer has the headphone jack, which is present on iPad 9. Personally, with Bluetooth headphones, I no longer feel the need for the jack, but in addition, we have 4 speakers positioned 2 per side, unlike the 2 speakers only at the bottom of iPad 9. I must say, the 4 speakers on iPad 10 offer significantly better, more immersive, and powerful sound. So, if you're used to listening to music or watching videos directly from the tablet, you'll definitely be more satisfied with iPad 10, as iPad 9 has a shyer and less powerful sound in terms of audio quality. In terms of battery life, both models have large and capacious batteries. I won't dwell on the difference in minutes because both manage battery life very well, going hand in hand and allowing us to use them for a long time without any particular difficulties. Battery life is generally very satisfactory on both devices, and they can withstand intensive use for several hours without any problems. That said, in my overall usage experience, I haven't found any significant differences between iPad 9 and iPad 10. What I can do with iPad 9, I can easily do with iPad 10. So, for a matter of price and savings with basic needs, I believe that iPad 9 can be a valid solution because it allows us to save money while still getting a decent device. However, considering the differences I mentioned in the video, such as the more powerful processor, brighter display, USB-C connector, more powerful speakers, updated display, and improved cameras, I personally consider iPad 10 to be a good compromise and probably a valid reason for an additional expense. This is because iPad 10 makes it a more cutting-edge and durable device over time, offering additional performance and features that may be important to some users. What do you think? That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a free like and subscribe to the channel for future tech updates. Until next time.